Jean-Pierre just had a disaster of a press conference today. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, which, of course, is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing, who will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you just need a simple repair, he'll do it. And, of course, we're getting hit by this massive hurricane, which we're going to talk about later here in Florida. If you're in Florida and you need roof replacement or repair, call Tom Laporta online, laportaroofing.com. Okay. Well, let me play this exchange with Ducey today with Jean-Pierre. I got a couple clips of Jean-Pierre. Jean-Pierre, she wore the most bizarre outfit at the press briefing today. In fact, what she wore, it's a zoot suit. What she wore was so unbelievable, I thought it was fake. I thought that there were fake images like AI generated or something on X today. She's wearing a zoot suit. It looks like a man's pinstripe suit.
Yeah, my dad had one in the 50s. I actually have a picture of my dad in high school wearing the exact same suit pretty much.
You know, it's 2024. It's almost the 50s again, Kathy. So she's bringing them back, for the 2050s. And the jacket that she was wearing didn't even fit her. It's about 4 sizes too big. And to me, when I first saw it, I'm like, what is this, Victoria? What's going on here?
She's going vintage. She's probably wearing her dad's suit that she pulled out of his closet.
There's nothing wrong with wearing an old suit.
If you're a man.
I have suits and I have a bunch of jackets. And they're all new except one. I have one sports coat that I bought like in 1993 or 4 at a thrift shop, okay, in 94. So it was old then, and it looks good, and I like it. And you know what? I might take it on the cruise and wear it on the cruise, but it fits me. And I'm a man, and it's a man's jacket, unlike Jean-Pierre. But anyway, the zoot suit is the worst of her problem. I just wonder, did she think she looked good in this zoot suit today, Jean-Pierre? I don't know. And I know a lot of people may say, you're being sexist. If she were a man, you wouldn't comment on it. Yes, if she were a man, if a man came out wearing like a woman's outfit from the 1950s, and especially one that was few sizes too big, I definitely would be talking about.
Here's the deal. If Melania wore it, it'd be cool. Well, she can wear anything. I mean, she's a model. She's beautiful. If she wore it, it would look stunning.
Kathy.
But on this woman with the mop on her head, in the horrible baby doll makeup, I don't know what's going on with her. I wonder if the press secretary has like a stylist. Do they have a makeup team?
They should be
hair
fired.
Team?
A glam squad?
Because she is awful from head to toe.
It was pretty bad.
Some women can pull that off, the Victoria look. Like I said, if you're like really beautiful, you can pretty much wear anything you want, and tall and striking, you can get away with anything. But if you're, and it has nothing to do with her being black, don't get me wrong, but her hair is god-awful. It's god-awful. And her makeup is horrible. I don't even know what she's thinking. She's not an unattractive woman, okay? I've seen photos of her in different clothes, in different makeup, and she's not unattractive. She's not gorgeous, but she's not unattractive. But this definitely was a miss if we're doing a fashion commentary here.
Melania
is pretty bad.
Melania is an international supermodel, so she looks good in anything. I mean, she could wear anything, and she'd look good. Jean-Pierre is gay, right? She's openly gay, so I don't know if she's like was going in drag today. I don't know. But listen, let's get to this. So Peter Ducey, he made some good points with her today. So let me share this with you. This is Peter Ducey talking to Jean-Pierre, who's wearing a zoot suit.
Let's head to the White House. Peter Ducey is asking questions of Karine Jean-Pierre. Let's listen.
Home, who are wrongfully detained and held hostage. And again, frankly, we have had an extraordinary
about Israel
doing just that. And that's going to be the president's top priority.
And on this issue of funding, the administration has money to send to Lebanon without Congress coming back. But Congress does have to come back to approve money to send to people in North Carolina. Do I have that right?
Here's what I'm going to be very clear about.
Good question.
And the vice president has had a a robust whole of government response to this. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I said it at the top, more than $200 million that we have directly put towards survivors here for disaster help. And that's because of this president's commitment to make sure that we are there for communities that are impacted. We take this very seriously again. We take this very seriously. And before the hurricane hit, we pre-positioned more than 1,500.
Okay, it goes on and on and on. Okay, see, this is what I think about this. This is what I think's going on with this, about the FEMA money. They get the money for Lebanon. They got the money. They use the FEMA money to move the illegals around. This is what I think. The reason that they rush to help Lebanon and Ukraine and these other countries without any congressional approval, and they hide behind that to help North Carolina with the FEMA funding. Mm-hmm. This is my guess, and I could be wrong about this. You guys let me know what you think about this in the comments. The way that the government spending is set up, okay, the FEMA money goes directly to the states, the governors, right? It doesn't go to anyone else. It goes to the governors, and then they decide how to disperse it. The state gets the money. I don't think the Washington people can steal their percentage from the FEMA funding because it goes to the governors. But if they're sending money to Lebanon, or Ukraine, it all gets lost. It's easier for them to get their cut. A lot of it's done through donors. So the reason that they don't do this, I know a lot of people say, well, because it's a MAGA area. That certainly is part of it, okay? There's no doubt about it. But also, I don't think they can get their cut out of the FEMA money like they can in the other ones. That's just my thoughts on it. I could be wrong about that. It's a disgrace. And, we have this massive hurricane that's coming to Florida. Part of Florida, in fact, some of it is going to get hit by Milton this week. We're hit by that hurricane just last week. Okay, so a lot of these people are getting a double dose of hurricanes in like a week and a half. And this is just wrong. There's certain things that we depend on from the government. When there's a natural disaster, you expect the government to come and help you. I've never heard the government say, we don't have any money. Well, I mean,
I have never heard that said about ever.
No,
ever.
In fact, the government never runs out of money. They've got machines that make it.
Everybody knows the truth, that they are sending billions and billions and billions of dollars to other countries, and there's nothing left for us. That's the truth. I don't care what she says. She's a liar,
exactly right.
And everybody can come out on TV and say, oh, that's not true, and we're this, we're that. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. They're lying to everybody. Everybody knows it, and they see what's going on. We're not stupid. We're not blind. Stop gaslighting everybody. And it's going to be seen in the election because people are tired of the nonsense. They're tired of being lied to. I see every day people on X, on social media, they're like, I'm waking up. I realize the government's lying to me. They lie about everything. What my concern is, like I talked about yesterday, even David Axelrod was like giddy over this, is that these people won't be able to vote. And I really hope Lara Trump is on this in the North Carolina region and Georgia. And now Florida, that area getting hit today and tomorrow is a Republican area too. Mm-hmm. Tampa, anything north of Orlando,
the villages and all that
and I think Tampa is MAGA. I'm not sure about Tampa. It's got 3 million people there. 3 million people in that city. They're going to get hit with a Category 4-5 tomorrow. They just got hit last week.
Well,
so that's my concern. Obviously, their life is the main concern, obviously, but the election's important.
Well, this thing about the FEMA money, we know they spent it moving the illegals around, and what they did is they illegally used the FEMA money as a slush fund to finance moving the illegals to these pockets like Springfield and stuff. And and they didn't think anything of it. Nope. And there's been these massive natural disasters, and they got caught.
They got their hand in the cookie jar.
And for those that say that that the FEMA money wasn't spent on that, this is I retweeted this. This is a side-by-side of Jean-Pierre. The first one is her in October, right now, denying that they used the FEMA money for the illegals. And the second clip is her from September 2022, okay? Okay, so listen to this. The first part is Jean-Pierre this month, The second part is Jean-Pierre in September of 2022, 2 years ago. Listen to this.
It's just categorically false. No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants. So FEMA regional administrators have been meeting with city officials on site to coordinate available federal support from FEMA and other federal agencies. Funding is also available through FEMA's emergency food and shelter program to eligible local governments and non-for-profit organizations upon request to support humanitarian relief for migrants.
Okay, so to support humanitarian relief. So what they told themselves, this is how first they're stealing money from FEMA. They're using it as a slush fund, right?
They're stealing it from Americans. They're stealing it from us.
And what they told them was that there was a catastrophe, a tragedy going on with these illegals in the country to justify taking the money. So that's Jean-Pierre confessing that they took the money
knowingly
on the
lying,
illegals.
Knowingly lying. This is money we pay taxes for and put into these funds for emergencies to help us, to help Americans.
That's right.
And you're right. They've spent it all, and they spent it all. They used FEMA money because it was a loophole. They weren't able to get funding, I believe, any other way, like you said, unless they went through Congress. So this was a way to tap into this fund without having to get permission. And they used it for that. And now it's tapped out. And now we have another storm coming, which is going to be very bad. I saw on the news, I've been watching Fox Weather app and the Weather Channel since Sunday. There are people in Tampa who still have all their stuff on the swale from the cleanup of the last storm from Helene last week. So you have homes that have junk and furniture and trees and debris piled up 5, 7, 8 feet high, about 20 feet across on their swale in the front yard that has not been picked up. I know after a hurricane here, we lost 2 trees and we had to have somebody come cut them down.
50-foot trees.
They were both at least 50 feet. We had to have somebody come and cut them down, and they took them all to the swale, right? That debris sat there for 2 months. I was afraid there was going to be a fire. In fact, Brian finally got it removed when he sent an email to like the local politicians saying there's going to be a fire here because it was so dry. It was the hurricane hit like in beginning of October-ish or end of September. That wood was still here almost through Thanksgiving in the front of our house. So you have people with debris and furniture that they have removed from their homes because it was ruined, broken up, piled up in front of the house, and now you got another hurricane coming because that stuff hasn't been removed yet. I mean, this is a huge disaster.
A lot of people have been messaging me today and leaving comments. Are you and Kathy okay for the hurricane? The part of Florida we're in, we are not in the hurricane cone. We're in South Florida and on the East Coast, not too far from Mar-a-Lago. So we are out of the hurricane cone, thankfully so, because this Hurricane Milton. I was reading an article in the local news today. This may be the biggest disaster that's ever hit Florida. There's some people are saying, and I hope that's not true. I want to play this clip. This is this had leaked out a while back, but now it's come back. This is a FEMA disaster preparedness Zoom meeting.
It's crazy.
That leaked out, and this is so insane. I'm not going to. It explains itself.
Sparked a few things. In my mind, thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that. It's just compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why of why we're having these discussions, is because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community. Thank you so much. Maggie.
Thank you. Yeah, there are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this, she gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have to just allow for the
childless cat lady
in the background. The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity. But we have to do more. Right. And so this topic is intersecting, I think, with a number of other topics where we have to look at policies and understand to what extent they have disadvantaged communities that had less assets, communities that had pre-existing vulnerabilities in accessing disaster-related recovery support.
Okay, so they're talking about disaster relief equity. So what that means is that when a disaster strikes, you help people based on equity. Okay, so white people, of course, last, black people, then the LGBTQ plus trans community, and then these people, white people don't get up.
First, illegals.
Yeah.
Illegals are at the top of the list.
So this thing about equity, when it comes to this government, okay, this is what's happened in this country. Okay, conservatives as a group, most of these jobs like this are people that are college educated. I'm not against a college education. Kathy and I are both college educated. You know, my degree's so important. It's in the filing cabinet. I don't even. It's in a filing cabinet.
I don't even know where mine is anymore.
With all our family papers, I don't even know what's in there. But you know, the thing about it is, these jobs are held by college graduates that went to these liberal universities, and conservatives, you know, even those of us that went to college, we really don't use our degrees. Okay, conservatives are business-minded people. You know, Kathy and I, what we do has zero to do with our college degrees, right? And what happens with these leftists is they've taken over the entire bureaucracy of our government.
Yeah, they have.
And not just the post office and the driver's license agency. They've taken over Homeland Security. They've taken over the FBI.
Because they're all DEI hires.
These are white people.
Result.
They've taken over FEMA. So the entire bureaucracy of the United States is run by leftist, woke Democrats that went right from college to working for the government. So we've got a big problem here, you know, and we're going to have a big victory in the election, right? We're going to have Trump. We're going to have a big majority in the House. There's a good chance of us taking over the Senate. The Senate's a little more difficult to follow and predict because it's just different, you know, and not so much of it is up, only a third. But even if we take back the Senate, so say we have the court, right? But even with all of that MAGA control, we don't control the bureaucracy of government, and they're the ones that are responsible for all of this. You understand what I mean? And this thing about equity when it comes to disaster relief, this was a private Zoom meeting with FEMA officials talking about equity considerations when doling out emergency relief. When they talk about these liberals in the healthcare profession, they're teaching doctors and medical schools this. So when you go to an emergency room, people get help in an emergency room based on the level of the emergency. Right. But what they want you to do is, well, you know, you are descendant of slaves. Maybe you're white. So your injury of the white person is more severe, but we've got to make up for these past injustices. So the minority gets help first, even if they're not medically necessary.
Well, what they
that's
are
equity.
saying and what they believe
that's crazy talk
is that white people have it too good.
Yes.
And
by the way, these are white people talking. And
there were a couple black people in that meeting and a gay guy. The gay guy, that was a gay man speaking. I know he sounded like a girl. But they believe that white, straight people, Christians, our life is so good that everybody else, their life sucks compared to ours.
Yes.
And that's why they need a lift up, because we already get a lift up just by being white and straight and Christian. We already have a lift up. That's what they believe. So these people, they need to lend them a helping hand, because just being gay or a minority or a female or whatever, you're automatically downtrodden. They believe that, and they're the white liberal savior, and it's their job to make sure. So this is what happens when you hire some, not all, some people that are gay activists or liberal activists, they start thinking, well, whites have had it, or Christians or straight or men or whatever you want to call it, have had it good enough. They really believe that we get preferential treatment wherever we go, which is so not true. So not. If anything, it's the opposite. Just go to the DMV or whatever. We all get treated equally there. I mean, that everybody's the same at that place. Or the post office. That's just not true. It is not the 60s in Alabama anymore. But they believe this. And they believe that's their job to uplift these people and put them at the head of the line and put us at the back of the bus.
Because we've had it good enough for too long.
We've been at the front of the bus too long. Yeah. So when they use the term equity, they really, it's amazing. They've developed a whole new language because they can't really say what it really is, which is anti-white legislation. So they use all these new words, not new, but they have a whole new language of their own. Where they speak very in vague generalities of equity. It's really not equity at all. It's white people are last, and if they lost their home, if they don't have food, well, you know what? If they're white and they live in the Appalachians and they're Christian, screw them. I'm gonna help somebody else. I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd.
What it is,
and it's bigoted.
It's just racial discrimination, and they use a lot of fancy words to intellectualize it. But it's just old-fashioned bigotry, discrimination, and they're bringing back segregation. Now, if you're in Florida, and there's no way you're not impacted by this hurricane, even at our house, we're not in the cone, but it's been raining for 2 days. It's raining pretty bad. If you have a leak in your roof or you need a roof replacement, even if you've been hit by the storm, call Tom Laporta. No matter where you are in the state of Florida. When we got hit on the Gulf Coast of Florida a year or two ago, he helped a lot of our listeners on the Gulf Coast of Florida. His response time is fast. He'll take good care of you. He'll put that blue tarp over the damaged roof until the repairs begin, okay, to stop the water from coming in your home. And because Tom Laporta is not just a roofer, he's also a licensed general contractor, Florida law allows him to deal directly with your insurance company on the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof, which speeds things up a lot. He works on every type of structure, both residential and commercial. And if you have a community, like a condo community or apartment buildings or an office complex, he can handle, no matter how many buildings there are, the entire job. Whether it's one building or 150 buildings, he can handle the job of any size. Okay, but on residential homes, if you just have a small single-family home like Kathy and I do, he can help you with that as well. Tom Laporta also works on commercial properties and municipal properties as well. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. We're going to take a quick break. There's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
From author Michael Williams comes a book that will take you on a journey of self-discovery and deep reflection. Reflective Perceptions, a journey through thought and emotions. Available on Amazon. In this must-read and life-changing book, the author will take you through the depths of the human experience and unravel the complex layers of thought, emotion, and the unspoken inner word. Each poem in this collection offers a profound invitation to explore themes of personal growth, spiritual exploration, and of human nature. Whether you're seeking insight into your own heart or just looking to appreciate life's quiet, powerful moments, this book speaks to the essence of being human. Reflective Perceptions, a journey through thought and emotions, will leave you contemplating the beauty of life's nuances and finding deeper meaning in those everyday moments. Order your copy right now on Amazon and immerse yourself in poetry that speaks to the soul. Reflective Perceptions, a journey through thought and emotions, from author Michael Williams. This Halloween, the scariest monsters are the humankind. From director Ethan Henry comes the new film Severance Mountain. It's the perfect date night thriller. In Severance Mountain, after a tragic loss, two friends go on a camping trip to the remote Adirondacks. But when a body is found on the mountain, they realize they're not alone. As Sarah and Toby try to reconnect, they find themselves in a nightmare. Every step deeper into the forest leads them closer to an unknown killer. A police sergeant knows something is hunting hunting the tourist. But can Sarge stop it before it's too late? This Halloween, find out who or what is waiting in the woods. Severance Mountain is available right now on Amazon, Apple TV, iTunes, and Google Play. Don't get lost in the woods. Severance Mountain, where survival is the only option. It's that time of year again, Christmas shopping time, and there's no better place to find unique, personalized gifts than ActicFoxMarket.com. They're your go-to Etsy shop for custom gifts, home decor, accessories, and so much more. Whether you're shopping for a loved one, a coworker, or just looking for something special to give yourself, Arctic Fox Market on Etsy has you covered. They have everything from cozy apparel to custom accessories. You'll find something for everyone, and they're veteran-owned and operated, based out of Texas. Use the promo code FAV25 and save 25% off your entire purchase. They also have fast, free shipping inside the United States. Start shopping right now at ArcticFoxMarket.com and start crossing those names off your Christmas gift-giving list. Unique personal gifts delivered right to your door. ArcticFoxMarket.com. If you're a cat lover, you know the struggle. Keeping your furry friends from scratching up your furniture can feel like a full-time job, but not anymore, thanks to the cat scratcher from CatScratcherGuy.com. Unlike those flimsy cardboard scratchers that fall apart and leave a mess, these durable cat scratchers are built to last. They're perfect for protecting your furniture and keeping your cat's claws healthy. Use the promo code Brian at checkout and receive 20% off your order. Plus, enjoy shipping for just $3 on any order. Say goodbye to scratched up furniture and hello to happy, healthy cats with CatScratcherGuy.com. Protect your home and treat your cat today. That's CatScratcherGuy.com. And don't forget, use the promo code Brian and save 20%. CatScratcherGuy.com.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, so Trump went on Hugh Hewitt. He was talking about the illegals. Let me just play it, and then we'll talk about it. They're all upset. The left are just having meltdowns. Listen.
How about allowing people to come through an open border, 13,000 of which were murderers? Many of them murdered far more than one person, and they're now happily living in the United States. You know, now a murderer, I believe this, it's in their genes, and we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now. They left. They had 425,000 people come into our country that shouldn't be here, that are criminals.
Okay. So what they're doing now is they're calling Trump, of course, a racist. And I'll play this next clip, and then we'll talk about it. This is CNN immediately has a panel. They have that guy on. I don't know his name. He's the guy that I call him Blue Steel from Zoolander.
Yeah, I don't know.
He does that thing with his lips like Zoolander does, Blue Steel. Listen.
Is that we have long known that Donald Trump has revered the Nazis. He has revered Hitler. He's read his book. He used to say he had it on his nightstand. Donald Trump has had a very sinister philosophy, wanting to be a dictator, absolutely dividing people up based on who they are, based on factors about them that have to do with their race and their gender, etc. And when he uses language like this, I don't think that it's a Freudian slip. I think that the danger of a Donald Trump is that he would absolutely try to exterminate an entire group of people because he thinks that their genes are somehow different than his and faulty. And I say this with all the sternness that you hear in my voice.
Okay, now this thing about Mein Kampf, this thing about it being on his nightstand. So let me get this straight. If you read a book, that means that you are accountable for everything that is in that book. I've never heard such a bizarre thing. Mein Kampf is available at every bookstore. Go to the few Barnes and Nobles that are left. It's on all the shelves there, okay? And it's part of the historical.
I've never heard Trump say he keeps it on his nightstand.
No, or that he admires Hitler. We all know that he admires Hitler. Okay, this thing about there's an old expression. He's talking about the criminal illegals, okay, that are coming into this country. There's a news story today. 3 or 4 Venezuelan gang members in Texas nabbed a woman in her driveway, threatened to took her in the house, robbed her $50,000. They threatened to cut off her fingers if she didn't give them the money. And we heard those numbers of the tens of thousands of rapists and murderers that Kamala brought in here. There's an old expression, and this is what Trump meant to say. This is the expression, and I think this is what Trump meant to say. Not that what he said was wrong. What he said was right, and I'll tell you why he's right in a minute. There's an old saying, it's in their bones, right? You ever heard that expression? It's in their bones. Something's in their bones. That's what he meant. Now, this thing about the genes, which is he meant to say in their bones, Latin American culture, okay? You go to Latin America, all of Latin America, there's only one place in Latin America that is not the third world, and that's Puerto Rico. And the reason Puerto Rico is not the third world is because we own it, right? We took it from the Spanish in the Spanish-American War. The rest of Latin America is corrupt third world. There's no middle class. There's the wealthy elite and then peasants, right? And the culture of Latin America is a culture of crime and corruption, corruption and crime. That's it. That's their culture. And I'm sorry if that's offensive to you, but it is. And what Kamala Harris, the type of people now this does not mean that all people that are from Latin America are criminals or corrupt or, or these things. But the cultures of those countries, that's why people flee to come here, right? And the group of people, the 25 million plus that Kamala's been here, are the worst of these corrupt third world countries. They're criminals, like these gangs that have been attacking, these Venezuelan gangs. Savannah Hernandez, who works for Charlie Kirk, she's a Hispanic girl who's young, and she's MAGA. She did some investigative reporting on these Venezuelan gangs a week or two ago, and I watched her report on it. It blew my mind. These are prison gangs. It's bad enough. I thought they were street gangs. You know what I mean? That's bad enough. But these are gangs that are prison gangs, not street gangs. They came straight from the prison to Estados Unidos.
I think what he's saying, okay.
It's their culture, the culture of Latin America.
I don't even think he's saying that.
Crime and corruption.
He is saying, he said, I believe it's in the genes.
Yeah.
So what he is saying, he believes that a criminal mindset has a genetic component.
No, that's not what he meant.
Then why did he say genes?
He misspoke. He misspoke with genes.
Maybe.
He was talking about the culture of Latin America is a corrupt culture. If you go to Latin America, see, this is what's really sad.
I don't know, he said genes,
and
so.
I've been to Latin America many times, not just on our cruises, on the outskirts, okay? I've been to South America. I went years ago with my friend, went deep into Peru. We went to those Nazca lines and stuff, and my friend is a Cuban American, and he retired a couple years ago, and his parents are from Cuba. They were Cuban exiles. They came here when Castro took over, and he speaks fluent Spanish. And he got this idea in his head when he was in his 50s that he could retire and take his Social Security early at 62 and live like a king in Latin America, right? With a little bit of savings he had and his Social Security. And he went to pretty much every major country in Latin America, and he was scared to death. And he's Cuban. He speaks, you know what I mean? I went with him to Peru, and he went everywhere. And now he lives in Florida still. He never left Florida. So what I'm telling you, Kathy, is the culture. There's not a place in Latin America that is not third world, and that's corruption and crime. And it's in their genes, it's in their bones, it's in their culture, and they're bringing that here.
Well, I agree. It's
right
that the behavior is not good, and if you're a criminal and a murderer and a rapist, I mean, what kind of children are you going to raise? But it doesn't matter why he said it. They're blowing it out of proportion.
They know
he's not going to exterminate anybody. That's ridiculous. I mean, what does she think? He's going to set up concentration camps all of a sudden? I mean, they have gone so far off the deep end. All he's going to do is deport them. That's all he's going to do, is put them back where they came from. That's it. They're doing it in Italy. They've deported 61% of the illegals by now, and she's deporting them all.
Yeah.
And they're starting to do it in other European countries because they're taking over the countries. They're taking over the government. And in 50 years, none of these Western European or Western cultures will exist as we know it, and the world will come to it. It will be like something you've never seen, because culturally, and I don't know about genes or whatever, culturally, they do not align with our Judeo-Christian principles at all. They want to change everything. And I believe Obama is behind all of this. I believe Obama wants, and Susan Rice and their people, they want to systematically change this country and reshape it in their image. And I've said this before, his fantasy is to rewrite that Constitution in his image, because he's, in his mind, it was written by slave-owning whites from 250 years ago, and things need to change.
Yes, that's right.
The Constitution is like the Bible, okay? It's a book that never becomes obsolete. It's a document that is never obsolete. The principles apply to everybody that lives here that's a citizen, and they are sound principles, and that's what makes our country great. We have freedoms here that nobody else experiences, and all these people that bitch about it enjoy that freedom every day. But Donald Trump is not going to exterminate anybody. And for her to say that, we all know what he meant. It might have been a poor choice of words, but you know, that's Donald Trump is not, that's how he talks. He just says what's on his mind.
Exactly.
And you have to read between the lines sometimes. We know what he meant there. It is not, he has never, ever said anything about exterminate. That's just insanity for her to say that. That is her sick fantasy. And for her to say that, and for them to allow that to go over the air, to me is so, it's so irresponsible, the rhetoric. What she said is 100 times worse than what he just said right there. Yeah. Him saying that it's in the genes, and you're right, he probably meant the cultural. What she said about that Trump's going to exterminate people and set up, like, be basically like Hitler is so much worse and more irresponsible,
well, Kathy,
than anything he's ever.
You know what it is?
It's crazy.
If you've,
but some people will believe it.
I've encountered in my life, unfortunately, people that are criminals, and a lot of people that are lifetime criminals.
Yeah,
they don't even know that they're criminals. Don't you get it? They think
they have a criminal mindset.
They're gone. They think that the people that are these lifelong criminals, okay, like these gang members that you're seeing the videos of in Aurora, or these Venezuelan gang members that threatened to cut the woman's fingers off in Texas, took in her house, stole $50,000. Okay, they don't think they're stealing. This is what they grow up learning how to do, and they think that you have their money.
Yeah,
you
and
have
they teach
their
their children
property.
this thing.
And it's hard to understand because we're civilized people, but they think you have their money, and they're just taking what is theirs. They don't know another way. That's what Trump's talking about, and he's right.
Most immigrants that come here acclimate to the American way of life and the way we live and follow our laws and, become Americanized in a lot of ways, and they're happy to do so. They're proud to be. Like my mother's was that. Don't call her Canadian. She'll bite your head off. She's American. Because she became a citizen in the 70s. But what's happening now is these people coming in, it's such a large amount. It's so much at one time. They are not acclimating. They want us to acclimate to them.
Correct.
And Tucker said, you import the third world, you get the third world. And that's what's happening. And if she wins, oh,
we're done.
I don't know why Trump talks about 4 years, because you could be looking at 8 years.
That's right.
8 years of this woman, this cackling moron, who is lying about, he said at his event yesterday in Wisconsin, where there were 100,000 people, by the way, outside of that hangar. I saw a video. It was incredible. He said she has changed her position on 15 key points. 15 that she now has changed. He said she's not changed her mind. She's lying. If she wins and you have 8 years of this woman, like Elon said, you will not recognize this country. They will import another 50 million, maybe more, and very soon about a third of our population will be illegals that are here that are not following our laws. They are not paying taxes. These are not the same immigrants that have come before. This is different. They're criminals. They are bringing in criminals. And if you bring that up to them, they just flat out tell you you're lying. Even though the Border Patrol came out with those statistics a couple weeks ago, they'll just tell you that's not true.
That's right.
That's not true. They just gaslight you.
All they know is they hate this country. They want to bring it down.
That's right. To its knees.
And that's it. Now, MyPillow has an incredible offer. It really is time to start doing your Christmas shopping. I know that Halloween's not here yet, but this is the time.
I know.
Now, last week, I told you guys the $25 extravaganza was going to end. So when I tell you these are limited time offers, they are. And there's a new limited time offer at MyPillow.com on the MyPillows themselves. And let me tell you, there is no greater gift than the gift of the MyPillows. When you give a MyPillow to someone, they will keep it for years and years. Everyone we've ever given them to, they not only do they love them, every time we see them, they mention them to us. Right now, the regular standard MyPillow with our promo code Kane, of course, Kane at checkout, is just $14.88. The queen size is just $18.88. By the way, the standard MyPillow normal price is $49.98, and it's just $14.88. The queen size MyPillow is regularly $69.98, just $18.88. And the king size pillow, which Kathy and I are going to get, I did not know the king size pillow was so long, Kathy.
I got to order.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, I knew they had a king size pillow, but I didn't see a size comparison with the regular pillow. See, we have the standard MyPillows and the Giza Elegance pillows and the MyPillow 2.0, but we don't have the queen or the king. And the king is, look at that. That's beautiful. I mean, nice. we could both sleep on that next to each other with our heads on.
Two people on that.
It's really nice. The king size MyPillow with this sale that's going on is normally $79.98, just $19.98. Pretty good deal with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Now, you can use our promo code site-wide on any of the specials, and also it's free shipping on orders over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Do your Christmas shopping, all right? Okay, we're going to take our last break. When we get back, there's a lot more to get into. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this break.
Mike Lindell is offering wholesale pricing for Christmas. The standard MyPillow, just $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. That's right, just $14.88. And free shipping on orders over $75. So go to MyPillow.com right now and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and get the standard MyPillow for just $14.88. The lowest price ever. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane. From author Ruben Toussaint comes a book that you will want to add to your must-read list and will make a great addition to your book club. The Legend of Ruben Toussaint, Journey to North's Mountain, available on Amazon. Ruben is a 19-year-old warrior with one burning desire, to become the strongest. But strength isn't just about muscles. It's about conquering your greatest trials. And for Ruben, that means one thing, North's Mountain. Legends say, he who conquers North's Mountain will become the strongest. But this journey isn't for the faint of heart. Ruben must battle fierce challenges, face his deepest fears, and push his limits in ways he never imagined. Will Ruben conquer his ultimate challenge? Will he reach North's Mountain and become the warrior he is destined to be? Find out when you read The Legend of Ruben Toussaint, Journey to North's Mountain, from author Ruben Toussaint. Available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover edition. Join this epic adventure and discover what it means to become the strongest. The Legend of Ruben Toussaint, Journey to North's Mountain, on Amazon. Looking for a one-stop shop that covers all your needs? Say hello to Pixie's Moon, your new go-to online general store. Whether you're looking to upgrade your home with stunning furniture and accessories or explore the latest tech like professional drones and pool vacuums, Pixie's Moon has all that and more. From clothing to electronics, even pet essentials, they have something for every room of your home and every lifestyle. At Pixie's Moon, quality meets unparalleled craftsmanship. Each product is carefully designed with a focus on on durability as well as functionality. So you're getting more than just a great deal. You're getting great products that are built to last. They're also committed to delivering incredible customer service, making sure that you have the best shopping experience possible. Stop going from site to site. Find everything you're looking for at pixiesmoon.com. That's PIXYS. Visit pixiesmoon.com right now. View the inventory. You will be impressed. Share pixiesmoon.com on all your social media so your friends can shop there too. pixiesmoon.com, where quality and innovation meet affordability. Start shopping right now. pixiesmoon.com. How would you like to capture a memory that will last forever? Whether it's a wedding, anniversary, baby shower, or just a moment too precious to fade, KG Rosa on Etsy has the perfect solution. KG Rosa on Etsy preserve your most cherished flowers and turns them into timeless keepsakes. Imagine your wife's face when she sees her wedding bouquet preserved beautifully. It's a gift that keeps your love blooming for years to come. Even if those flowers are long gone, KG Rosa on Etsy can recreate your bouquet with stunning detail. It's not just preservation, it's a work of art. KG Rosa on Etsy brings high-quality craftsmanship to each and every petal. Go right now to kgrosa.etsy.com. View the collection. You will be impressed. Start making memories that last a lifetime with kgrosa.etsy.com, because some moments deserve to be forever.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. So this Hurricane Milton that's coming here, you just told me, Kathy, that the airport in Tampa is shutting down?
Yep, they're closing that. And you were supposed to go to Orlando this weekend with Emily, and that trip got canceled. We had planned it like 2 months ago, and now Emily just texted she's using her airline credit to come stay with us. So I'm very excited because I haven't seen her since April. And when she was here in April, I saw her for like a day because she went on the cruise.
Yeah.
So she got a ticket. She's coming in tonight. She'll be here tomorrow morning.
That's our daughter.
Our daughter, Emily. And she doesn't have a ticket home, but she's going to come stay for probably, I'm assuming, 5 or 6 days usually. So that's exciting. So I'm happy to see her.
When I'm glad our daughter.
She hasn't met our new kittens either.
No.
She hasn't met Pepsi and Coca-Cola yet.
Nope.
She's a cat person. So
no, she hasn't. She has to come home every once in a while so we don't look like childless cat people.
Yeah.
All right?
I'm real excited.
Well,
I haven't seen her.
I don't know if any of you. I've never done this hitch rides. But I was telling you, Kathy, the other night. I just I had an uncle who's long gone in the ground. And he was like my aunt's like third husband or fourth husband or something, I lost track. And he had a son that was like in his 20s, and I was like 10. He seemed like he was an old man to me. And he used to hitch rides across the whole country. Like he would come and visit, but he would hitch a ride like from California to Florida. He would hitch rides. I don't think people hitch anymore, do they?
I'm sure some people do.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They used to make TV movies about the dangers of hitching and all of that. I don't know if any of you have ever done it.
In the 70s, really, early 70s. I'm sure your dad's hitched a few rides.
My dad, I don't know,
sure
but
maybe your mom too.
I don't know. Was that a thing? Did people really do that in the 60s and 70s?
Yes, they did.
That's insane.
Yep.
That's
they thought
crazy.
everybody was just so loving. How do you think Ted Bundy got half his victims? They were probably
they were willing. They got into his car most of the time. Sometimes he had to hit them over the head.
He said they got in my car. No, he didn't hit him over the head till they got in the car.
Yeah.
Once they got in the car, they were his.
Well,
that's
and
the way he looked at
Bundy, when he was talking in prison on death row, said they all got in my car. He blamed them, right? He blamed
I think
the victims.
that's why he didn't. Well, there was one woman he got. She escaped.
Yeah.
But she got into his car willingly. I think that was part of the thing for him. Like, he didn't want to force them in the car. He wanted to know that they willingly got in. It made it seem like it was okay.
Well, that's what I was talking about in the last segment.
You know what I mean? In his mind.
That's what I was talking about in the last segment, about the criminal mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, how they rationalize. Okay, now, so let me
rationalize
play this clip. This is the dangers of Kamala. This is Kamala Harris, and this clip's getting a lot of play. She's talking about Elon Musk.
And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for... He has lost his privileges, and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Okay. So
Hillary just talked about that too.
Yeah, Hillary's. This is one of their big agendas.
Yeah.
See, what's happened with the Democrats, and this is not new. It's been getting worse for them. They've lost complete control of the narrative, and that's why.
Yeah.
If you watch the TV news, and then you watch what's going on X, on Twitter, there's totally different things. In fact, the stories that are really the big stories are not even on television. And even Fox, for the most part. This thing we started the show with on Jean-Pierre will be, because that was a moment with Ducey. But for the most part, the issues we're talking about are all being driven by the internet. And there's very little crossover. On some big things there are, but not very much. And the Democrats are not able to get narratives going. And they see these demographics of groups that they have controlled for decades. Blacks, Hispanics, young people, the college kids. And they've lost all these groups, and they've realized the reason they've lost these groups is because the American people are more informed than they ever have been in the history of this country about everything that's going on. All these things that have come out about Tim Walz and Kamala, none of this would have been allowed if Elon Musk didn't buy Twitter and turn it into X. If the old people still own Twitter, all these things that we're talking about, all these clips and everything, would have been suppressed like the laptop. So Gavin Newsom talks about arresting Elon Musk. Hillary Clinton and Kamala are talking about shutting down Twitter. A lot of people haven't talked about this in a while, but what they want to do, they want to get control. So what they want to do is have an organization, a government body that oversees the internet. Like the FCC oversees radio and television, there's restrictions. That's why you can't say the F word and stuff like this. They want to have a body like that in charge of the internet.
Well, they want to put Elon in jail.
Well, they want to
or overtake the Twitter. The Twitter they can't control, and it's driving them nuts.
I was in shock.
Too much truth getting out.
See, they made a big miscalculation. I was in shock that they let him buy Twitter, right? Elon, because we knew what he was going to do with it. He had gotten really ticked off at the suppression. And when they let Elon buy Twitter, this is what they thought. Because if you remember when this happened, all these people in the media, remember the blue checkmark people, right? To have a blue checkmark, it was something you were given by Twitter.
Yeah.
Now I got a blue check. They denied me many times, but now I've got one. And a lot of people have them now, right? You pay for the level on Twitter and you get a blue check mark, right? And what they thought, and they used to talk about this, like Jake Tapper and all these jerks in the media, well, we're going to leave Twitter. And they thought that if they left Twitter when Elon bought it, that it would be worthless and collapse. Right. And the opposite has been true. In fact, he's found a way to monetize it. And I did not know this. Maybe you guys knew. But now that I'm a blue check mark person because I pay for the extra thing that a lot of people do. When you have a blue check mark on Twitter, there's a button you can push on your Twitter, so you only see other blue check mark people. You don't see non-check marked people, blue check mark people. And I never realized that. So all the celebrities and the media elite had that button switched. So they never really saw the regular people. In fact, I remember I was watching Jake Tapper. They used to do these stories all the time where they would be stories on tweets. They would show someone's tweet, and then there'd be a whole day discussion on CNN about someone's tweet. And Jake Tapper put one up. It didn't have a blue check mark on it. And he says, well, this tweet is from an unverified user of Twitter. Like that makes them a non-person, right? They're unverified by the liberals that were running Twitter at the time.
Well, what's really flipped them out is when Jack Dorsey owned Twitter, they had a direct line to Twitter, and they were able to put out their lies and
get people banned that they didn't like.
And ban people and all this. And what's really flipped them out is this FEMA stuff.
Yes.
That it's
people
getting out.
about
People are posting documentation evidence, and there's people in the area that are posting videos that are living there that are like, no, FEMA's not here. They're not helping us. They're lying. So this is what they want to do. They want to control the messaging because they can't. So they use the term misinformation. Of course, they're the only ones who disseminate truth. Everything we disseminate is lies. Everything they say is the truth. Jean-Pierre lies every day, nonstop, from the moment she gets in front of that podium until the moment she leaves, and maybe forever, maybe all day long. Nothing but lies come out of her mouth. And you could even play that quote of her about FEMA from 2 years prior, and she would still tell you that wasn't true. I mean, these are the biggest gaslighters. So Elon has a lot to lose, and I frankly think that they want to put the guy in jail. And they're going to bring him up on charges for spreading They're going to make this a law. This is their fantasy, that spreading misinformation they're going to make it a law. They want to control what you put on social media. They want to control your thoughts. These are people obsessed with control. This is how liberals are. They own slaves. Remember, they love controlling people. And they want to have complete control over your life. That urge is never going to go away, okay? It's like an itch they can't stop scratching. They will never see the truth or that what they're doing is wrong because they know better than us and they're smarter than us. This is what they think. And that they need to tell us what to do. Isn't that how slave masters, how they treated the slaves? They thought they were stupid and they needed to control them and they needed to keep them in line, and they thought they were doing the slaves a favor.
Yeah.
They really did. If you read some of the stories from that time, they felt that they were helping the slaves because they were too stupid to know any different, and they were helping them out in life. They thought they were, you know what I mean? This is their mindset, and they're still this way. They love control and power over people, and they can't stand that Twitter is a free platform where you can upload and discern for yourself. They want to control that platform more than anything. They have to decide what. And Elon.
And you look at Tim Walz, all he talks about is regulating misinformation, and they decide what is true and not. But so what? If something's not true, let people can figure it out. We don't need Tim Walz or Hillary Clinton or Jake Tapper or Rachel Maddow. Okay, so speaking of fake media, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski.
Oh, this was nuts.
And the thing about them, they live here in Florida, and they have this backdrop of Washington behind them to make you think they're in Washington.
Yeah.
They live here in Florida.
Yeah, they're phonies.
It's ridiculous, and they lie to their audience. They don't say that they're not in Florida or that they're in Washington, but they imply it with the backdrop and everything. So everything about what they do on their show is a lie. But listen to this. This is Morning Joe and Mika today.
The fact that J.D. Vance and Trump's family would out and out say what they said takes the threat of violence, takes the threat beyond where it was even leading up to January the 6th. This is an increasingly desperate person, an increasingly desperate family who's preparing for civil war.
I mean, come on. The Trumps are preparing for civil war.
That's just crazy. That's
Isn't
just
that crazy,
so
Tom?
irrational.
Isn't it?
He knows that's not true.
You know what? And it's
he
also
knows better.
It's also irresponsible, especially since President Trump has been shot. There's been 2 other assassination attempts since.
This is because Kamala is losing. She is losing so bad, and they know it. And this is all they can do is scare you into voting for her. And that's what they're trying to do. This tells me that he is kicking her ass in the internal polling so bad they cannot ever run on her policies or doing that she's going to make anything better because it's not going to happen, and they know it, and everybody knows it. So instead, now they're basically saying he's going to start a civil war and he's going to exterminate illegals. I mean, that's what they're going with here. And I really pray to God that people are not this gullible to believe this nonsense. It's ridiculous. It is. I mean, they are saying such irresponsible. This guy they've tried to kill him now 3 times. They have dialed up their rhetoric. so much. You know what I mean? They have dialed it up. It's frightening. It's frightening, the things they're saying.
The violence has been against him.
Exactly.
But he's the danger? I mean, that doesn't even make sense.
I'll just be glad when this election is over.
Yeah,
because
me too.
And I think Trump will be too. It's very stressful for all of us. It's less than a month away, and I'll be glad when this is all over with. And I pray to God. I really do pray every night that he wins, because I just don't even want to think about the country if he doesn't. I mean, what is that going to happen? I mean, you know how many people are going to lose hope in the country and just give up and be like, well, you know, what am I fighting for? I mean, this is really going to be really upsetting.
Over the weekend, I played this clip. I'm not going to play it now because I played it this morning on the morning stream, but Melania was interviewed by Maria Bartiromo, and she shared two things. One of them we mentioned yesterday. She wanted to donate to a scholarship for foster kids at a university, and they wouldn't take her money because she's married to Donald Trump. So some foster kids, God knows how many, probably forever, are not going to get college scholarships. Foster kids have no family. They have no one to lean on, and some Trump derangement syndrome sufferer at the university won't let Melania Trump donate because she's married to Donald Trump. And then Melania said two things, Kathy, I couldn't believe. Her internet provider canceled her, this was after January 6th, canceled her email.
Yeah.
And her bank debanked her. I've heard of people being debanked. Mike Lindell, Laura Loomer, General Flynn, and now Melania.
Can you believe it?
And, for the life of me, I mean, she was First Lady of the United States, and she will be again. I've never seen such a, I'll tell you this. I don't like the Obamas, okay, at all. But if I met Michelle, I would call her Mrs. Obama. I would show respect because she was First Lady. I can't stand those two people. They're responsible. I would call Obama Mr. President in person. Same goes for Hillary Clinton. Mrs. Clinton. I would call her Mrs. Clinton or Secretary. You show respect for people for these positions.
For the office.
Even though you may hate them like the plague. I can't stand Hillary Clinton. I can't stand Barack and Michelle.
These people
But I would treat them with respect. These people,
they're on a whole other level.
Kathy.
And this thing he said about the jeans, Joy Reid's going to lose her mind over this.
Oh, yeah. Well, because
she is, why? She is seriously so much on the brink.
She's always looking for something. So when she sees something like this, she grabs it.
Yeah,
but
it's so much heightened.
What they did to Melania, I have so much respect. This is in Melania's book, but Melania kept it private. She didn't go national with it. She could have, and I'm sure she asked her husband not to because he's never mentioned it. And I'm disgusted by that. How could you mistreat a First Lady of the United States? I wouldn't do that to these terrible people like Michelle and Hillary, and I don't think most Americans would. And Melania, Hillary Clinton's been involved in politics a lot. Okay, Melania has never been involved in politics. Right. Michelle Obama's been involved in politics. Melania has never been involved in politics.
Maybe this is why she's not so out there like she used to be.
Yeah,
because
they debank her
because of all
canceled her email.
Fallout that happened, and maybe it was upsetting to her life so much, and maybe he said to her, "Just hang back."
Yeah,
and I've noticed his kids are not as present as
dangerous.
They were the first time because they all become targets, and I think he's just telling them Barron's not involved at all, and I don't think he should be, and I don't think people should encourage him at his age to do anything political. He's only 18, 19 years old. Let him finish college. Let him get out in the world. But why put that responsibility on him, to pick up the torch? He might. That's his decision. But I wouldn't put that kind of pressure on him. I mean, he might look at everything happening and be like, he might be like, I'm gonna take this on and I'm gonna fight this for my family. But I have a feeling Melania is deeply discouraging that in him. I could be wrong.
Because of what's happened.
But she's probably Kathy, worried about his life.
These things they did to her that I mentioned, they've tried to kill her husband.
Yeah, these are horrible people.
I mean, what they're going through. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support. And remember that if you're a Patreon supporter, you have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes, okay? And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P., Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R., and John S. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support.
Okay, I just want to say real quick, Elon did an interview with Tucker, and
I haven't seen that
coming
yet.
out on X. Elon, there was a woman who, I read an article in the Daily Mail, and I put it in your Facebook group, who has been a Democrat operative or worker for like a decade. And she is very disappointed. She said the party has been taken over by the rich elite celebrities and very rich, powerful people that she said never was not like that before. She said it has been taken over by like the Oprah, Bezos. They're running the party. So just with that in mind, I'm not saying there's any connection here, but this is what Elon Musk said. Elon Musk tells Tucker, the reason Kamala Harris is getting so much support from some billionaires is because Trump is going to release the Epstein client list. Some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of a Trump win. And then Tucker names a name, and I'm not going to say, and he said, do you think so-and-so is uncomfortable? He said, yes. And he named another person who's very well known. Tucker, you can sort of just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there. Now, these are Elon's knows. I mean, these are his people. He's the richest man in the world. That's his circle, okay? And he has separated himself from them. So he is saying that that's a big part of them controlling her, and she is very easily controlled. I mean, she's like a robot, really, and she's bad. But she basically says what she is coached to say and scripted to say. I don't think there's even, I don't think she even has a mind of her own anymore. I don't even know if she ever did. I've never seen anybody like her. But, so that's interesting. We'll have to watch that interview with Tucker. But I'm interested in that list. I'm interested in the Diddy list, when that's going to come out. All these things are coming to a head. So I really feel like this is divine providence for Trump to win. The Bible talks about shining a light and all the corruption coming out in the open. And I really feel this is God's will to expose all of this. So I believe Trump is going to win. But if he doesn't, it's going to be a little confusing to me, because I'll be like, okay, but, because then all that's going to go away and these people are going to be protected by her. So like I said, it's a nerve-wracking, and I'm sure Trump's will be glad when the election day is here and he can get on with the business at hand. But I don't think he's going to go in and go after people like Michael Cohen said he's going to come after, please. Al Pacino. These people are so, even George Clooney said Trump's going to come after him.
They're just in love with themselves.
These people are so self-important. He's got 4 years, that's it. He is going to spend all of that time fixing the country. He is not going to waste any more time with the media or celebrities. He has never said anything like that. This is all in their fantasies because they feel they're so important in life. But that's just interesting what Elon said.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we are out of time for today. Our daughter's coming in at the last minute.
We got to fix up the house.
We got to clean the house, organize everything, and get the guest room ready. Because we turned her bedroom into,
it's a cat room.
Yeah, basically. So we got to decat our daughter's bedroom and have it ready for her.
Yes.
Listen, everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.